So whenever I get the same question often, I like to just make a video in response to it. And today we're going to be responding to the #1 question I keep receiving, not only from players in my community, but also other content creators. And that's the #1 question of, is BedWars dying? Now, I've seen a lot of content creators make videos stating that they're quitting the game because they just can't come up with new ideas. Some of them are honestly just bored. Some of them aren't liking the fact that their views are down, so they're changing games. And there's lots of different reasons why content creators are going to move on from a game. For example, when Islands stopped doing as many updates, a lot of content creators just kind of got bored and they couldn't really make content based on a game that wasn't making updates. And that's not really the problem that we have with BedWars. BedWars has been making weekly updates pretty much since the game came out. And in the case of Islands, I almost quit the game mainly because lack of updates. Now, a lot of people are saying the game is dying for a number of reasons. You know, #1, from a content creator perspective, you're going to look at your numbers. If your videos aren't getting the views anymore, of course, you're going to think the game is dying. On the other hand, you know, if you put out a bad video, then of course people are going to watch it. And I'm guilty of this, okay? I'm guilty of this. And honestly, it's because I am so busy right now outside of YouTube that my videos have been a little wild. So forgive me for some of the quality of my videos lately, but that's not really the issue here. Now, a lot of content creators are saying they've run out of ideas for the game, and I actually don't think this is true. I don't think they're so much out of ideas as much as they're just not motivated. If your views are down, you're not going to be really motivated. And there's another aspect of it, not just the views, but there's another aspect of it is if you're bored of the game, you're not going to be motivated to come up with ideas. And when BedWars was really fresh and exciting and new, a lot of content creators were just throwing anything out there, and a lot of them were doing the repeats like manhunts. There was constantly another manhunt, another manhunt. I mean, that's how Dream went big with Minecraft. It's not like he needed Minecraft to do another update for him to do another manhunt video and blow up. So I don't really think it's the ideas as much as a combination of multiple things. If your views are down and you're kind of bored of the game, well, that's just a whole different issue, right? Your views are down, you're bored. And then it may be time to start mixing up your content. And that doesn't really mean the game is dead, okay? Just because your views are down and you're bored of the game doesn't mean the game is dead. I mean, a lot of people are saying the game is dead when it has over 100,000 plus players on an update day. Now, right now I'm recording this video and there are only 26,000 active on the game. Now, if you were to ask me any other game that had 26,000 players, I would say that's a pretty poppin' game. The difference being is that we're talking about BedWars. We have a benchmark, right? We have a benchmark that said at one point in the stage of the game's life, it was never below like 50,000, players. Rarely would there ever be 50,000 concurrent players. And when you see the game at half that, then you start wondering what's going on. Is BedWars dying? So I personally have experienced this myself with a lot of my videos. I have seen the views down, and as well as my live streams have been often under 1,000 viewers. Usually my streams would be anywhere between 2,000 3,000 viewers. But I think there's another issue at hand that no one's really talked about, because BedWars has such awesome updates every week, and we see the players jump to like over 100,000. Sometimes it's even 110,000 players, sometimes even 120,000, and that's within the last month, okay? So it's not like it's been like 3 months ago that the game used to hit 100,000 players. That's a lot of players. So earlier this year at around June and July, I knew this was going to happen. I knew that BedWars is going to tank in summer. It was going to happen. And there were a couple of reasons why I knew it was going to happen. One is last year, a lot of people don't realize a lot of students were remote. They were working remotely, whether they were in school or maybe college. Even if you're an adult, you had remote work for the most part because of COVID. It was like the perfect storm for BedWars, okay? BedWars and Roblox, not just BedWars, but Roblox. And what happened here is a lot of people had more time at home to play games, okay? So it meant you had time to play BedWars and Roblox in general, not just BedWars, but Roblox in general. And what I am seeing and what I knew would happen is as soon as people had to go back to school or had to go back to work, there was going to be a lot less time to play Roblox, not just BedWars, but Roblox. And I'm going to show you something that's going to really open your eyes. And you can tell me whether or not you think BedWars is the game dying, or if it's just all of Roblox dying right now. Credit goes out to Rollamons for this data, by the way. This is a great website if you're curious about looking into data. I'll go and show you BedWars real quick, and you can look at all the data yourself, okay? This is stuff you can dig into yourself if you're really curious. So you can see there's all these stats here, and unless you know what you're looking at and what to look for, you're not really going to be able to see the story, because if you look at this, it's like, oh, this is why I look at the game's data. People don't like it anymore. They don't like the updates. Well, this little downslope is normal. This right here, concurrent players, looks fine, right? You got a nice spike here, flat. This right here, new visits, looks pretty good. It flattens out. This is probably from an update or something. Yep. Looks like an update. Friday updates. And you look down here, new likes and such. So I'm going to show you something else. that I dug into. So you can see right here, this is the average concurrent players in BedWars. In April 2022, game was like averaging close to 90,000 players. Well, if you come over here, you can look at August, it got up there pretty nicely. Hey, look at this, this is just a slight slope. But if you look at right here, average concurrence in December of last year was just a little over 70,000. And you can look at we're right here, we're at about 60,000. So we're about 10,000 less average concurrent players per month. But if you look at back here, like what about all these months when the game was popping off? This is like when the game was blowing up. YouTubers were making content. This was like a crazy time, but then it dropped. And so you can wonder, well, is the game really dead? It's still hitting good numbers. Over here is a really interesting one. It's average playtime. So look at back then, the game was only getting about a little bit more than 8 minutes average play session. It even dropped down to 7 here. This is in August of last year. So interesting, right? August. But the interesting thing you'll see right here is it went up and then it keeps going up. And it keeps going up. Now, I don't really think this data is useful because obviously they kept making the game harder for players to really end the game fast. You have Emerald Armor, you've got ranked play, you got a lot of different game modes, 30v30s, a lot of game modes take a lot of time. And they just kept making changes to make the game last longer. Pretty intelligent, if you ask me, from a developer standpoint. Not so great from a user experience standpoint. I really hate it, but that's okay. So come over here, new visits. This is where it starts telling the story because this looks all great and stuff because these are average concurrent players. This isn't like new players. What you need to know about new visits is interest, okay? So new visits is not existing players. A lot of people say, well, you know, people have gotten bored of the game and so they quit. That has nothing to do with this one. This is about players in general. So this is Roblox players, new players that have never played the game before. And you can see this matches up. Right? This is when the game blew up. It was exciting, new and fresh. A ton of content creators were making content about the game and everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is the new big thing. And then things kind of plateaued, kind of went down, kind of just maintained this for a while. Lots of great content, lots of fun, lots of great updates. And then something happened around here, aka school, summer. And everyone has to go back to school. No more fun. And a lot of them are going back to school on site. And you can see going down, going down. Now, this is what's interesting. This is almost the lowest we've ever seen. So this is the game's just not getting new users like it used to. And here's where I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's the game because check this out. This is Google Trends, and this is based on search keywords, okay? This is interest over time for trends. This is, you know, people typing in search. Now, before you ask me why I'm looking at Google Trends, this is where most of our views come from for content creation, okay? So if people are really interested in BedWars or any kind of game, they're going to go to their browser at the top here and they're probably going to type in a keyword. Usually that keyword is going to take you to Google and it's going to give you some results, often videos. So I put in a couple search terms here, and what I really want to show you here is interest over time. So this is back when the game launched. You know, obviously Arsenal was doing really, really well. Then BedWars came out and then they kind of overtook Arsenal. This is where a lot of Arsenal content creators started switching over to BedWars. And then, you know, you can see, ignore the adopt me. I'm going to explain why I have adopt me here in a second. But what you'll see here is interesting. You know, lots of growth. This is like when we were just popping off, right? And then over here, what's interesting is around August. Again, this is the August timing, kind of matches up, right? This is where we're at right now. But something else that's interesting is look at Arsenal. So Arsenal is also on decline. Not really surprised. It kind of flattened out right here. But they started dropping off around the August timeline too. So you see about here, around here, just dropped. And then right here, interesting enough, look at Adopt Me. Adopt Me's going down. Same timing. So this is making me think, okay, maybe it's really Roblox doing this. So let's go look at a couple other games. Now, Blox Fruits is a huge game right now. Let me tell you, it is popping off as well. It's got 300,000 plus players. But interesting enough, you look at this, is, you know, kind of popped off inside September, and it's kind of going down a little bit, right? So it's dropping under this line of 75, whereas it started out at 100. And so is Blox Fruits dying? You know, that's another question, right? I don't think it is. It's still popping off. Now we go over to Doors. Look at this. Doors. You know, it's interesting because it kind of came out like around this time. So it popped off, and then it just tanked. Look at it, just dropped off. Let's look at Brookhaven, another huge game on Roblox. Look at this. Okay, it did take a big dive here. I don't know what happened there. But look at August. Yeah, just tanked. Similar lines or pathing as BedWars. Bloxburg, another example of a game that is dead. So Bloxburg just dropped off. So again, it makes me wonder if I were to, you know, copy those lines over here, would we be seeing the same thing? And my feeling is it's Roblox. I believe that Roblox game interest, especially a lot of the older games, has died off on interest. Like overall players have less time right now to spend on Roblox in general, that I don't think it's BedWars dying right now. And I think this is why a lot of content creators have not quit BedWars yet, is because there's no other good viable option. Unless you're going to make content on Blox Fruits, which is still really popping off. It's a good game. Maybe some of these other games like Slap Battles is holding out pretty nicely. You see these numbers are really impressive. I really like the game too. I don't think there's enough content to really make enough great videos for the game. But honestly, I really feel that this is an issue with Roblox because we didn't have any cool events this year. Except for RB Battles, which is just now starting. We didn't have anything during the spring or summer to really do. They never did a Metaverse Champions kind of event or Easter egg event, which was really what drove, I think, most of the content, like interest and player interest in the platform. And because they didn't have anything cool like that going on this year, I think a lot of players are just kind of bored with Roblox in general. I'm just saying, I could be wrong, but I think a lot of players are just bored of the content and they need another way to discover. And I think a lot of content creators aren't mixing up their content, which makes it even harder, not only on themselves, but also for the BedWars developers. If you think about it, the BedWars developers have a lot of stress doing weekly updates. People don't really appreciate the fact that these guys are pumping out weekly updates. I get that there's going to be some bad updates. You know, I'm a content creator, obviously. I do care about the fact that I'm losing numbers from BedWars, but this is why I'm mixing up my content, and it's going to help you all overall having more variety on my channel. And it, you know, that's just kind of what I'm doing, so you don't get bored with my content. But will it die to a point where it's just like everyone's forgotten the game? Absolutely not. I think what we're going to see is BedWars probably going to drop down a bit more than it is, but because it has such great gameplay and there's so much to it, it really is the PvP game on Roblox right now. There's nothing, you know, to compare it to, and I don't think any content creators are going to go anywhere because I think they're waiting for the next best thing to really jump to, and there just isn't anything there yet. There's no competitive game out there to compete to the degree of BedWars or Arsenal. You know, even Phantom Forces just can't cut it. And the good news is there might be a chance that Roblox community will come back. During COVID, things were just weird. People were consuming more content. They were consuming more, you know, online services that were, I think we're finally seeing the aftermath of that on Roblox, and it's just settling down to like realistic numbers. And what those realistic numbers are, who knows? But I don't think BedWars is going anywhere. It's not going to die. Is it dying from where it was, from its greatness with, you know, crazy numbers? Yes. But can it return? Maybe. It's maintaining great numbers. It's still hitting 100,000 players on great update days. I don't think there's anything to be worried about other than just get used to the norm. This is just the new norm. From my perspective, I'll continue to play BedWars as long as they're updating it. Same with Islands, and I'll be playing all kinds of other games too. I've kind of just changed my direction for my channel in general to be more broad, but I'll always give EasyGG love in general. So, you know, I'll keep doing updates every week, you know, keep playing BedWars every week, and I'll introduce you to new games every now and then. Even if those videos do only get like 10,000, 20,000 views at times, I still like introducing you to new games. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think is going on with the Roblox statistics. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Peace.